Well, everyone, welcome back to the 3 of 7 podcast. Dude, it's good to be back on the 3 of 7 podcast and not somebody else's podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to be a guest, and meet some new people, but it's like coming back home.
The 3 of 7 podcast is the premier podcast of all podcasts. Especially in terms of fitness and faith, and we're the premier category in many podcast categories. So when you have to leave, when you have to leave to go on other podcasts, it just ain't the same, dude.
Yeah.
And we are sitting here looking out over the city of Austin, Texas. And by the time you guys listen to this, we'll be back home. But no matter what is going on, Chili and I are dedicated to bringing you a show when we said we would bring you a show. So after about 30 minutes of working on this lav mic that we are recording on here, we're finally able to hopefully be recording some content for you guys. If the audio sounds a little different, just know we're back to Chad and Chili on the road episodes for this episode only. You guys that haven't been listening for a long time, you probably don't know about the Chad and Chili on the road episodes. You got to scroll way back, almost a year back, to be able to find the last on the road.
Yeah, that was I think we called that segment Tinfoil Hats with Chad and Chili.
Oh yeah. When me and Chili go on the road, man, and we don't have Blake and Krista around to kind of rein things in, it can tend to go a little sideways.
Yeah, you think?
So, well, first of all, Chili, I want you to tell the people about that Peloton, man.
Man, first of all, this hotel, I'm not used to staying in a hotel that's nice. We're sitting here in the penthouse suite, looking over the
Yeah, right. $160 a night.
looking over the this hazy Austin skyline, and I'm just happy to be in this nice hotel, this penthouse, and I've did some exploring. I went down to the bottom level where there's a pool, and I noticed a room filled with Peloton bikes. Now I've always crapped on Peloton. You may have one at home. Some of you listeners might, but I've always thought it was a freaking joke.
Well, your perspective has changed on Peloton, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, I went in there and made me an account and fired up the old computer. Those things are computers. I mean, it's a wild machine. It's literally a flat screen computer hooked up to a bike. I mean, I can't imagine how much they cost. And you select a workout. I said, all right, you pick a trainer, select a workout, and I set mine on 30 minutes with Stacy or something. And we got going.
You're gonna be dreaming about Stacy tonight, ain't you?
Yeah. I just tried to, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this its best shot. I kind of just wanted to get on there and pedal, move my legs a little bit. And by the way, do you run?
Oh yeah. I only run when I know someone is watching or there's a camera around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or ride a bike, or work out in general.
No, I just say I do.
Right.
And then
right.
so
Same as
I just do it when I know someone's watching.
Okay. Well, me too. So I had the camera in there. And,
there also happened to be someone else in there doing Peloton, right?
That is true. Yeah.
That counted as the person that actually got to see you.
Me and Christine were in there riding.
If there would have been nobody else in there, you wouldn't have did the workout.
Well, Christine was getting after it, but so I was in there and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this like you're supposed to. I'll do what she says, and then so there's a person on the screen guiding you through it. They're playing music, and it was like set your set the resistance to this level and, you know, keep your cadence between 80 and 100. I mean, I was all on it.
Are they yelling at you?
It's motivational.
Okay.
It's not aggressive. It ain't how I would do it.
Okay.
More encouraging. And so she was hyping me up, making me feel good. And about 3 minutes in, I quickly realized that ain't for me. That is no freaking joke, dude. If you do it right, it's hard as crap. It was a 30-minute workout. I said, you know what, 15, I'm cutting this off. I did it for 15 minutes, like as I was supposed to, and then I was done. I was wringing wet, and old Christine was still hammering, but I had to leave her.
So you're telling me you've ran all kinds of these crazy ultra marathons and stuff, but you couldn't finish a freaking Peloton session, dude? You literally quit your Peloton session halfway through?
Yep. That 30-minute Peloton workout 100-mile race don't compare to that.
Does Peloton give you some sort of penalty for that or something? I mean, you said you had an account with them. I mean,
yeah, I got knocked for that.
You think they?
Yeah, my ultra sign-up ranking went down.
They knock your Peloton points down if you don't finish the workout.
Well, I will say also, there's a leaderboard of like your output. Somehow they calculate some output score as you're going, and I was doing it live with 24 different people at the same time as me. Yeah, I had to wait 3 minutes and join the next session and everything, so I was doing it with 24 other people. And out the box, I came out hot. I was up there in front, and then by about 10 minutes in, I was getting passed systematically every 30 seconds.
Well, you know, it's interesting that I'm talking crap to Chili about his Peloton failure, because while he was down doing Peloton, I was up here in the hotel room taking a nap. Actually, I was reading my Bible, but I was supposed to be taking a nap. And Chili walks in the door, and he literally walks into the room here and lays down on the floor. Now, I would have hated to have seen what condition he was in when he first got off of that daggone bike, because he had to leave the Peloton, walk to the elevator, and then ride the elevator all the way up here to where we are, and he still comes in here and collapses on the floor after all that, you know, minute or two to gather himself. I mean, I never seen nothing like it, dude.
I stumbled on out of there. I was dehydrated, dizzy, just weak.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to do a Peloton workout at some point. Just to see if it's.
Hey, if you regularly Peloton, more power to you. But that was my first and last.
It sounds legit, man.
Yeah.
Well, you need to go finish that workout when we get done with this podcast. At least you don't get your Peloton points. Don't stay low.
Well, I do have to say, you calling that quitting? There ain't no set time frame I had to do that in.
You just put it on pause.
I had every intention to go back down there tonight. I already told you that.
Oh, okay.
I ain't no freaking quitter.
I got you. Well, we've done quite a bit of running out here too. It's pretty steamy out here. We found a few trails. We went to try to find a new trail today. We've been running on some trail right in downtown that goes around some big lake here in Austin, and we've about ran that thing out. So today I said, hey man, let's go check out this other trail system that I found on All Trails. So we ride all the way up north of town. We pull in this parking spot, or we pull in this parking lot, and there's a sign right there at the beginning of the parking lot that says, lock it up, hide it, or take it with you. And I'm like,
never a good sign.
That's odd. I've never seen a sign like that. What is this thing talking about? And we pull down in the parking lot, and literally, I'm not exaggerating, every parking space in this parking lot has shattered glass in it. Every single one.
Yeah, every one.
There's one other truck there, and that truck, it was a really nice truck. They left all their windows down. so no one would shatter their windows. That was unbelievable, man. I never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I get the concept of leaving your windows down. If I guess he emptied out his vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's literally nothing that they could take. But I mean, I don't want to live like that. Like, just, you can't have what you want in your own truck.
It was unbelievable. I never seen anything like that before.
That's crazy.
These freaking cities are they are cesspools. They are just cesspools. I've been hearing about Austin ever since the coronavirus hit. Everybody started moving here.
Yeah.
From California and all these other, I guess mainly California. And I not that it's a terrible city, as cities are concerned, but still, man, it's just crap like that. It's like, I guess they're all equally just cesspools. I'm so freaking ready to get back home and be in the country, man.
I think what it is with them, the LA moving to Austin thing, is it's, to them, Austin is probably like this oasis with no crime. It's all relative.
From LA.
It's all relative. I mean, if we come from where we're at, Austin seems horrible.
Yeah.
But then if we went and saw LA, it'd blow it out of the water. So if you come from LA to Austin, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I think it's just a perspective that
because I've been to LA.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're
I
right.
haven't, but
You're right. That was one thing that I did notice, because all big cities, the homeless population is just usually astounding, and especially LA. I've never in my life seen anything in the United States as bad as LA.
yeah.
But when we were running along that river trail the first day, I told you, I was like, I'm surprised there aren't more homeless camps down here.
Yeah.
So you're right. Moving from LA to here would be like you're moving back to a small town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be the equivalent of moving from somewhere like here to a. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's just the scale.
I just ain't digging it, man. I just can't do these cities, man. They just drain the life out of me. I told Chili today, I said, anybody that would willingly partake in life in this big city every day, day in and day out, I view them as mentally ill. Now, some of y'all might say the same thing about me for living out in the woods, which is interesting. But it's just not for me, man. It is what it is.
You're learning. You're getting more adaptable.
Well, I did go from level what?
Level 10 to level 19.
Level 10 to 19, but I got to be at level 1,000 before I'm ready, right?
Well, that's depends on what you want to be ready for. But level 1,000, you're in like a different league then.
Okay.
I'm on 30,000, by the way.
You're on level 30,000.
30,013. But so I am the master. And if you don't know what we're talking about adaptability. Okay, that's a trait that you won't hear very many people tell you that you need to have in life. Or that's not a sexy term, But adaptability, it's vital to surviving in this world. And
not if you just stay in the woods.
You don't need it. You're not in the woods right now, man.
That is true.
You always will find yourself out. And that's what I'm saying. Adaptability. I'm the consummate
why does the
pro.
Lord have to? The Lord, I think, intentionally calls me on these missions to places like this just to aggravate me.
You're leveling up.
He's forcing me to level up.
Yeah.
So I leveled up today from level 10 to level 19 because we did a podcast with a group of dudes, and their podcast is called Drinking Bros. All right, guys, I've been on a lot of podcasts as a guest. I have never in my life been on a podcast like Drinking Bros. All right? I literally sat in that studio pretty much the whole podcast, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out what was happening. What even happened on that podcast, man?
Boy, it was something to
'Cause
watch.
I think I was traumatized, and
Yeah.
and my mind has blocked it all out. So what actually happened while we were in there?
Well, I almost had sensory overload because of how many tasks I was trying to do. I observed and watched every single individual in there, mainly focusing on you, and the term that kept coming to my mind is perplexed. For you. You existed for an hour and a half in a constant state of perplexity.
Well,
And it was awesome to watch.
Usually when you go on a podcast, like someone invites you to be on the show has a purpose, right? Like you're trying
I
to.
sure had a purpose.
I'd like to know what you thought the purpose was. You're trying to learn something or whatever it may be. The show has a purpose, and the conversation has a natural flow and a progression, and so that's what I'm used to, right? I mean, and this thing, it never even got on the rails. It couldn't get off the rails because it never even got on the rails. So, by the way, Chili was on the podcast.
Well, I wasn't invited on. I just kind of,
When we walked in there, I told these guys, because I knew it was a different type of show. I didn't know how different type of show it was, but I had listened to a little snippet of their show before while I was out on a run because I knew I was going on as a guest, and it was so negative that I had to turn the show off because it was slowing me down on my run. And so I've only ever listened to like 5 minutes of that show. And I told them, I said, Chili's probably the guy that you actually want on this podcast, not me. And they said, well, give him a mic then. They set him in a chair over there and trained a camera on him and gave him a mic. And I think the first question I asked was, hold on, why did you guys invite me on this? Why did you invite me on this show?
Yeah.
Like, I'm confused about, right off the bat, I'm confused about why I'm here. And I know, ultimately, the only reason that I personally can find for being on that show was to share my testimony. And anything other than that was mind-boggling to me.
Well, I had a ball.
It was your favorite podcast we've ever done.
Oh, Lord,
Of
man.
all the podcasts we've traveled and done, this was Chili's favorite episode that we have recorded with someone else.
Oh, Lord, I had a ball.
Tell them about how the questions went.
Well, see, Ross Patterson pretty well takes the reins as the host of that show, and he's got a style that I like to call the shotgun interview style. He essentially asks his guest a series of non-sequential, completely unrelated questions that don't relate to the last one that he asked. And that's a style, man. I like it. I mean, he would ask you a question about, you would share a piece of your testimony, and he would ask you a question related to that. You would answer it. His very next question might be to ask you what your favorite fruit was.
Yeah,
And I personally love that style.
it was short-circuiting me.
I know. I was enjoying it.
I was like, what are we talking about here? Bigfoot? People going to the moon?
Yeah.
Like, what are we trying to do here? And yeah, it was, I don't know, man. If you guys don't mind foul language from the other hosts, not Chili and I, obviously, but maybe you'll get a good laugh out of that,
Well,
Drinking Bros episode.
Listen, man, you could definitely argue. I mean, I wouldn't argue this, but there are plenty of people that would argue that shows that are just purely for entertainment are not worth nothing. They shouldn't exist. And I don't agree with that. I mean, I think there's something to be said about shows that are for entertainment, and it doesn't mean that there can't be value in them. And that show's purpose is entertainment. And if it's not for you, don't listen. I mean, it ain't like I listen to it on a regular basis. My gosh,
Yeah.
I don't listen to that show, but it's just entertainment. And an example of like how you went on there and approached it as a guest is you provided value.
Yeah.
You shared your story. You shared your testimony. I mean, like it's I don't know. I think you can overthink it, man. It's just a regular old podcast, man. I freaking had a ball. I'll tell you that. Chad did tell them that they should interview me, which is obviously not the case. But they just sat me down in a chair, and I said, "Well, yeah, I'll talk to you." And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad you were there with me, dude, because I needed some backup on that jewel. I need some backup on that show, man.
Man, I was as comfortable as I was in my bed at home.
Oh, yeah.
Wrapped up in silk sheets.
Oh, you were eating it up, son. You were eating it up.
Level 3013 on that adaptability scale.
Chili was eating it up, man. I was ready to...
You can't rattle me.
I was ready to grab my stuff and head on out of that joint, son.
I mean, the only reason I'm even saying you can't rattle me is because stuff like that, you don't like it. But I just don't know what's not to like, man. I mean, you just sat down and had a conversation.
Well,
Goes where it goes.
That's true. Yeah.
I think sometimes, you may have too much expectations for something. Like you assume, oh, this is going to be this way. This is how podcasts are. And then, you step in and do one like that. You go, whoa.
Well,
whoa.
I think what it is, though, what drives me to do this, travel across the country and give interviews. What drives me to do this is the hope that something that I might say will give someone else some hope. All right, so that now we achieved that even on Drinking Bros. I would like to think we inserted plenty of good conversation that I think will give people hope. But so that is my expectation, is to be provided the opportunity to share parts of my story that are going to give people hope or help people in some way, shape, or form. So that is my expectation, because that's the only reason why I do this. Now, we achieved that, but we didn't achieve that necessarily because of the questions they asked. So I guess that's why it caught me off guard.
Well, that's what I'm sitting here trying to say, man, is that goal that you have can be accomplished literally no matter what the interviewer does or says.
That's true.
Unless they cut your mic and then don't post the show.
Yeah.
They cannot keep you from accomplishing that goal.
Yeah.
They cannot, no matter what they say.
That's true.
They literally, like I said, if they don't post the show, well, you lost the platform or whatever. But if they post it, they can say whatever they want. It's impossible to keep you from accomplishing that goal. Mm-hmm. So no show is not worth doing. I mean, if you wanted to do it, mm-hmm. There's nothing that.
Yeah, man, and it was another thing too. I was having an off day today already anyways. And, walking into a studio like that, I mean, although that's an entertaining, fun type of show, spiritually, like there's a heaviness in there. Like, I don't know if you could, I don't know if you're sensitive to that. Yeah, I felt it, like in that studio. There's a heaviness in there. It's dark, man, and real dark. And I was already having an off day, and then you walk into the metaphorical lion's den with the job to share the gospel of Christ. Son,
Man,
that's I think maybe that's why I'm so exhausted this evening, is because there has been spiritual battle being fought today that I didn't even anticipate.
well, yeah, I mean, I suppose you would say that there is every day, but the intensity of it can certainly vary.
Yeah.
And, the beautiful thing is, I'm about to sound, maybe y'all already think I'm corny. I don't know. But this is about to be real corny. But if you go and try to shine a light in a place that is not dark, it ain't even gonna freaking show up, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the word I used is like that studio. It wasn't dark. Like, I'm not talking about literally. It was a nice studio, man. There was lights everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
I'm talking about whatever this is spiritually, you know, this other realm that you can tap into with your physical senses somehow. I can't explain it, but it's there's something there. It was dark.
Yes.
There was a heaviness, but it was dark, which is you envision walking in to, like, on a nice sunny day, walking down the street, living in the moment, and then you walk into this room that is shrouded in darkness, and that's where you're going to stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So the reason I say that illustration is you don't stand out if it's not a dark place. If you share the gospel to someone who already knows the gospel, who's already a believer, I mean, that's pointless. Now, it doesn't mean you don't talk to those people and help those people through what they're going through and talk in a different way, but you don't share the gospel with someone who's already a believer. You understand that?
Yep.
It's a totally different conversation. You don't, like, if you view sharing the gospel as a light, if you're likening it to that, well, that would be like shining a light at the sun.
That's right.
It's pointless. But shining a light in a dark room is that's the only place you can do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it ain't easy.
I could see you struggling with it as it was happening.
Yeah.
I think from my perspective, there was I don't know that I would want to say maybe just a hesitancy because of not knowing quite the best way to do it.
Yeah, so I
You
just
know what I
went.
mean?
So in that, I just decided to go full bore. I mean, I think it's safe to say that I just kind of defaulted to going full bore on these cats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting. I'm mainly just talking about any time that whatever the message happened to be for you, but if you felt that you had to convey a message, it doesn't even have to be sharing your testimony or sharing the gospel. Honestly, any message that you felt like you had to share, it's you can get in a scenario where it doesn't feel like the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like with how the conversation is going and
totally.
And the questions that are asked, and it's just like, I mean, if I just blurt something out here, it won't fit.
Well, that's basically what I had to do.
Well, you didn't though, and that's what I was going to get to. There's definitely going to be people being like, hey man, there's never a bad time to share it or a wrong way to do it. Just share it, and I agree with that. But But there's also an element to real life that involves being smart and doing things when it matters, And I think that was that, not hesitancy, but that, that tension that you were feeling. And then when there was a window of, okay, it's, the right time for me to say what I want to say, you capitalized on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's an argument to be made that if you had done it differently, if you had done it early, or because you couldn't wait any longer and you were just like, hey man, here's what I want to say. It doesn't even, it's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you didn't make it unnatural at all.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It was definitely a challenge, man, and it definitely drained me. I think, one, starting off in kind of a bad place and having to enter into that, that warfare or that type of environment. It did make me grow. It definitely took me to another level, man.
That's where you have fun, though. I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying and know what you mean about having to enter something like that when you're not in the best place initially, but
mm-hmm.
because that's what makes it, especially challenging. But there's just,
well, it reminds me of Scripture saying, "Be ready in season and out of season," right? So be ready, even when you're already a little beat down. You're already just not feeling in the mood. You already got you got other crap going on in the background. You're in a weird place. You feel drained. You got to be ready then, man. Well, you got to be ready out of season.
That's why you train physically every day, because you never know what's gonna come up and what physical requirements a day may hold of you. But if you train every day, you may find yourself in a day where you're like, man, I'm sick and I got to do this, or I've got a little something wrong with my body and then this was thrown on top. But that's why you're as physically fit as you can be, because it's like, it don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I can still handle it.
Yeah.
Same with this. There's no off season.
That's right.
To anything.
That's right. Yeah.
There's no,
especially. I mean, the core of our mission at 307 Project, which the driving thing behind everything is to point people to Christ and point people to the gospel. And you're right, man. There's never an out of season for that.
Yeah. No.
Which is why Scripture said, "You be ready all the time." If that is.
Be ready in and out of season is basically, that's
be ready all the time.
That's another way of letting you know, hey, there's not an off season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's in the Lord's hands. He brings me and Chili to these places. Not always telling us or revealing to us exactly why we are where we are, and why we are talking to the people who we are talking to. And that takes a huge measure of trust, because when you don't know exactly sure why you're going, and there's a lot that goes into going, leaving home, leaving your family, spending tons of time in the car, it costs a lot of money, and you're not exactly sure why you're doing it. You just got to trust and say, well, this opportunity's been placed before me. I believe it's been placed before me by Jesus Christ, and I believe the Holy Spirit will be my strength and put words into my mouth when I get to the place in which I'm supposed to be going. That's a tremendous amount of trust, man.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't really see it that way. I mean, well, I think what you're saying is you don't see it that way. You know why you're doing everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know the nitty gritty,
Mm-hmm.
the details of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you feel like you know the big picture of why, then
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Or anxious about. I mean, you don't like dealing with the dang details anyway.
That's a good point.
I mean, if you had to worry about the details, you'd go slap a wall.
Yeah. It's been an interesting day, man.
How you feel now?
I mean, I'm glad to be back on the 307 podcast, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, this is what I've been called to do, but it's not always super fun. And you know, I think there's a part of that too that plays into just putting your there's something that can be exhausting at times in terms of just putting yourself out there, dude, and being honest with people and telling the truth about your experiences and telling the truth about your failures and not only your accomplishments but your failures too. And you know, I don't know, it's just some days I feel like, man, you know, why was I chosen to walk this path and put myself out there, and because there's such a huge part of me that would be completely content with working at the state park and nobody knowing who I was. You know what I mean? And there's a tension there, but the tension makes sense to me because Christ will never call you to do a place or to do a thing for the kingdom where you are going to be comfortable. I don't believe he will ever call you to that place, because I believe as a Christian, as a follower of Christ, being in a place where you are comfortable and just completely you could use the word content even, that's a dangerous place to be in terms of service to Christ. Because when you get in these places where you are really uncomfortable, whether it's putting yourself out there, if you're a more reserved person, I would lean more toward being reserved. Whether it's putting yourself out there or whatever your mission is, when you get into those places where you are uncomfortable, that is what forces you to lean more on Christ. It forces you to. You have no other choice. So if Christ was to call you to do something that you were totally comfortable doing, well, you might be serving him, but how often would you really have to cry out to him and say, be my strength today? It would never happen. And when you cry out to Christ and you say, Christ, be my strength today, that dependency on him, that's what he wants. He wants you to cry out to him. He wants you to be uncomfortable. He wants you to need him. That's what he's here for. So, I don't know, man. Today I've definitely been feeling that. Like, you know, Lord, just be my strength, and whatever happens. So, it's ultimately brought, not only given us a chance to share the gospel of Christ, but also strengthened my own personal dependence on Christ, and therefore strengthening my relationship with him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think too, being uncomfortable tends to make you recognize your own helplessness.
Exactly.
More so than being comfortable does, but there's nothing that says you can't be in a comfortable, like that podcast itself. Well, I was very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in and of itself. Of course, I didn't.
Well, also that being said, you're not me.
I was just gonna say, I also didn't. I mean, I talked about freaking Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know, like my contribution was about the moon landing being fake and black holes being fake. So, but I mean, I'm just. My point in saying that is, just because you went through a situation where you were comfortable, it doesn't mean you're overall comfortable in whatever the case may be. But like that situation as an example, I was comfortable in. Nothing excludes me, or that doesn't prevent me from still recognizing my complete helplessness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I still, just because that specific hour and a half didn't stress me in the same way, I should still recognize that ain't because of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not because of anything about me,
Yeah.
or that I did something good, or that I can do this on my own.
Well,
Like,
you have a unique ability to do that. I think you constantly keep yourself in check in that way of thinking. You know what I mean? But so many humans, including myself, don't think that way.
well, I mean,
As soon as you get comfortable, and as soon as you're in a place where you're not feeling any tension,
yeah,
you start to believe that's because of humans start to believe that's because I set this situation up for myself. I'm here because of what I've done and what I've built, right?
yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I just bring that up just to encourage someone who may be like, well, you know, there's stuff that I do that I feel comfortable with at times, and I don't know what to do with that. Well, the same thing, dude. The same thing. Recognize that you had nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize that you are just as helpless on your own then as you are when it's an uncomfortable, hard situation. I just think that's important, because I think as
so
humans
key.
we constantly go in and out of
Yes.
the comfortable and uncomfortable. And what Chad's saying that he did today is so important. If you don't do that, then like I don't even know the ramifications, man. You start thinking that you are the man.
Yeah.
And that you've got everything under control. That's just it's a really flawed way to live. And but yeah, I just think that you're gonna go in and out of comfortable and uncomfortable, and that same mindset has to be there when you're comfortable too. That you can't do it.
Yeah. It'd be nice if we could all maintain that mindset at all
Yeah.
times, but like I say, I think it's human nature to want to rely on ourselves, and thinking that we are the thing that provided the result that we wanted. And yeah, man, it's when I get the most exhausted in life, I realize it finally. After I just get beat down, I realize I'm so exhausted because I'm in a place where I am thinking what is happening is reliant upon me. So thinking exactly the opposite of how you think.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I get most exhausted in life, and I'll finally reach a point where I'm just like, I freaking can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And then it clicks to me, dude, the reason you're so tired is because you've reverted back to a place of thinking it's you that's creating these results. It's all on you to do this or to do that, right? When ultimately it's not.
Well, I think we get that confused, because if you didn't know what we're talking about, it is you. Like, it's not somebody else behind the scenes creating all of the opportunities for you, and like you're just the benefactor of it. No, like you are doing doing the steps in your life that have got you here. It's just the mistake comes when you think you did that on your own strength.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are the one being used. Like it.
Yeah, you're being
like
used.
It was you.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't somebody else. But you didn't. It was nothing in you or about you that created that.
Yeah.
Like you didn't. I think when you say
Yeah.
you didn't, it's that can get confused. Like.
Well, it makes total sense to me. I mean,
you were used, but
when you can comprehend the fact that the Spirit of Christ, the Holy Spirit, is literally in you. The Holy Spirit of Christ is inhabiting your body and using you to do whatever suits His will. So it makes total sense to me, man. So other than that, we went to New Orleans. That was a pretty interesting place.
Yeah, I like New Orleans. I like Austin.
I don't know. I mean, I would.
I like Gadsden, Alabama.
Dude, I think I would take the French Quarter over Austin. The French Quarter had some dang culture, man.
Yeah.
Austin's just a city. The French Quarter had some culture, dude.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, I did like them big nets. They were pretty good. But
I mean, even just the people, man. The people.
Cafe du Monde.
Yeah.
But yeah, that strip down there, it just them little shops weren't doing it for me. In New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just didn't. I like New Orleans. Don't get me wrong, but
I felt right at home in
we
New
didn't
Orleans.
we didn't go around enough, Like I like that French Quarter on the right side a lot.
You could have spent an entire day
Oh yeah, we don't know
walking through all them little alcoves and alleyways
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I liked a lot about it.
Yeah, I mean, my vote. I'm casting my vote for New Orleans.
I'm hard pressed to not. I will like something about everywhere you put me. Everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. I mean, Austin. All these Texas towns are sprawling.
Oh, it's huge.
We drove through Houston. It's like you can't even say. Even us in Austin. I mean, we've been here for a minute. We ain't seen 1,000th of Austin. I mean, it's hard to even, you try to hit the good spots, the good running trail, the good taco truck and all that. But, yeah, there's something I do like about it.
Well, I'll be happy to hear when you can place your finger on that.
On what I like about Austin?
Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah, but I think you just have a special gift for finding good food.
I can find good food anywhere.
Yeah, you really can.
Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that.
So it's not really a testament to Austin. It's a testament to your ability to find good food.
Well, either way, it had something to offer.
I think because I asked you, you can't quite articulate what you like so much about Austin. I can't articulate anything I like about Austin.
What about New Orleans?
New Orleans. Okay, New Orleans. What I liked about it was the culture, man. The dude that was singing out in front of the beignet.
Big nets.
Yeah. Shop. Like the dude that was playing the piano in the seafood restaurant that we ate.
I did like Rich.
The food. You talk about the food. You can't get that food anywhere else I can get barbecue somewhere else. Like I could get a good steak somewhere else. You can't get that food, man. I mean,
well, not like that. It's imposter.
Yeah.
That Cajun.
The dude, you remember the dude that was sitting out behind the beignet shop that had his suit on and you remember that dude, man? Like
Pimp Daddy.
Yeah. I mean, just the way these people
I like that dude a lot.
were dressed and just hanging out, and the music and even just the way that the streets were laid out down in that French Quarter. They were just laid out in a real unique way. I mean, it didn't. There's been no other city or area of a city that I've been to that even was remotely like that area.
Well, let me tell you, I need to make a serious correction too, because I said I didn't like that left side on the French Quarter with the shops.
You just didn't like that because you couldn't find a bathroom.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was really pissed.
Yeah.
I went about 4 different places and couldn't pee. Yeah. No, I actually did like. We didn't go in any of them. I mean, we could have walked through one just to see it. I mean, I liked them. I didn't like that there was no bathrooms. You can't pee in New Orleans. Did you know that?
Well, I'm sure most people just pee on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would have had a very big problem with that down there in the French Quarter.
Well,
because it was it wasn't
grungy.
Yeah, it was grungy. It wasn't really dirty, like there wasn't trash everywhere or anything, but it was grungy for sure.
I mean, it's them hurricanes, man.
Yeah.
It just washes stuff up, and you just kind of got to leave it because.
I felt like you could just disappear in New Orleans.
I did. No police.
No police, man.
No.
Didn't see a single cop. And we're leaving the French Quarter in our vehicle now, and I look up and there's a massive gathering of people and
burning out,
having a burnout contest right in the middle of the freaking street, man. There's hundreds of people, and there's just tire smoke everywhere, just filling the air. And Chili's like, I don't know if I'd ride up into that, Chad. And luckily, our turn was right before where they decided to have their little burnout competition. It seemed like a very lawless place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't mind that.
No, I mean, I don't really either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I would like to have. I think I could spend a few days in New Orleans and really go check out the food and really do some damage. But
yeah, we were just passing through.
Yeah, I would really like to put my skills to the test there because it's good.
That was a cool spot.
Yeah.
And we've had 2 people come up to us now during this trip that recognized 307 Project. That was pretty cool. Some guy, I forget the guy's name. I forget actually both their names. I apologize. One in New Orleans, super fit guy, a martial arts, I assume Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He was down there for a martial arts camp, and just super nice dude, man. Super motivated, fit, awesome guy. And then today at the taco truck, we had another awesome dude and his wife come up and say hey and give us encouragement. And encouragement is always welcome around here, especially on days like today, man. For sure.
Yep. Yeah, that's that little taco place was cool, and him walking up and saying hi, I was glad he did that.
Yeah. Well, it's been a good trip. We're getting ready to wrap it up and cut to the hut, and I guess Chili will go finish his Peloton workout, and then we'll get eastbound and down.
Daggum miserable.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this installment of On the Road with Chad and Chili. Again, if you're not a regular listener to the 307 podcast, this is a special episode. We'll be back in the studio, Lord willing, next time we talk to you guys. We love all y'all. We hope you're doing well. We'll talk to you soon. Enough said.